Having all three of you gone and found out details about this investigation on your own, you all meet back up in town in the morning to... Actually, no. Hold up. Where are you staying, Em? Are you living in Quiversand?
Yes. I think that was part of my deal with... yes, I am. That was part of my deal with Saza, is that I have a place to stay and a small stipend for doing accounting for her. Yes. I definitely have a room there. Yes.
Have we done your, roll for a vision?
Ooh, no, we have not.
Ever? Your foretelling?
We have not.
It's not really a faction turn, but we didn't do it at the beginning of the game, so why don't you roll me a foretelling? Roll with spirit.
Okie dokie. Gosh, why do I always roll terrible? 7.
Cool. You get to choose 1. Fate has provided opportunity to fulfill a role to your benefactor. An ally has come to own an item that might reveal more about your prophecy. A tragedy makes it possible for you to escape or alter your prophesied path.
An ally has come to own an item that might reveal more about your prophecy. My prophecy being, I think we decided, how I came to my powers.
Okay.
Where my powers come from. And kind of how to control them, therefore, based on their origin.
Okay. You all are back in town, and as Em goes to sleep for the night, she has a very restless night. With the prophecy setting in, and she has not gotten her tincture from Doc yet, so she is having a rough time of it. And as she sleeps, she has 2 dreams. The first is of this flower, beautiful, iridescent, with its blue and purple leaves glowing, and the knowledge that it can do something powerful and strong that defies what you knew was possible. With that knowledge comes, you don't have that flower anymore. It was in your grasp, and as you try to seize it in the dream, it keeps pulling back out of your reach in a annoyingly accurate metaphor to how you feel about this, understanding that it is something beautiful and powerful. And as that dream ends, you fade into less of dreams and more into dream memories of your time with Harrison. He was someone that you were sweet on probably about a decade ago. You remember having a good time with him before he abruptly broke it off, and you don't really remember a ton about that. And in this dream, it has that weird parallel reality of you are the one breaking up with him instead of him breaking up with you. And as you wake from this uncomfortable dream, it doesn't have that hollow feel that a dream has when it fades. It has something that feels a little bit close to the truth. Okay. As you hear a pounding on your door. It's time for you to do the accounting. I want to get paid? Saza says you have to do that before I get paid, and I would like some money. I'm coming. Can I come in? I've been told humans like it when we knock first. I'm already in the room.
Is this Liloran?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, no, don't come in. Hold on.
I'm already here. I brought the ledger, and he throws it on top of you.
Lauren, just...
Is it balanced yet?
No, take it downstairs. No, don't touch it anymore. Just leave it here. I will take care of it. First, I need breakfast.
As soon as she says that, Kingsdale walks in. Oh, good. Is she awake? I've brought a bunch of cash, and just starts, putting handfuls of cash down. I assume you must inventory this. I shall see you at breakfast.
She says she wants to do it up here, so we should leave her be so that she can get it done.
Did you ask before you came in the room?
I knocked. You told me to knock. That is what I did.
Did she say yes, though?
Why are there so many people in my bedroom?
Should I go get Saza? We can have Saza talk to him about hearing an affirmative.
You hear Lilura pop in? There can be one more if you'd like.
No, 3 less.
Saza, they're all coming in Am's room again.
I knocked. Kingsdale said I had to knock before entering rooms. And to not enter his rooms because my legs would be sawn off, maybe by him.
Lilura, get out!
Kingsdale just picks up both of the Lurens and walks out. I shall have coffee prepared for you downstairs.
Can you add some brimstone salt to mine? Gives a fiery kick that I like.
That is for the customers.
That is for the customers.
I promise not to flirt with you for 4 hours if you sneak it in.
But I mean, that would be boring, though. I mean, you know, I don't expect a tiger to change its stripes.
But wouldn't it be interesting to see so?
Don't shave a tiger. We're downstairs now.
I was being metaphorical, as you like to say.
Gets stressed, grabs the books. She looks through them to make sure Liloran didn't, lose anything.
No, he brought everything up. He brought too much stuff up. You know,
Yeah.
He brought, you know how receipts don't exist in this time, but you do, balance receipts? He brought you up, all the receipts that were filed,
Yeah.
for the past 3 weeks, where you're like, I only need yesterday's. And he's like, here's all of them.
Yeah, so she, collects all this stuff, and she's, kind of, paging through it as she comes downstairs.
There's a lot of, notes for him writing you, I should have a raise.
You just, snug that in there.
Welcome down for dinner. Breakfast, whatever meal it is. I've been up all night. It was a good night. I would like to get paid.
Saza smacks Lilurin on the arm with her fan.
Oh, what was that for?
Can you leave her alone? Humans have to wake up in the morning.
She got 4 hours of, don't they only need 4 hours of sleep? She slept for 8.
I don't know, but apparently they need more.
Ugh.
8. Yes, 8 is nice. Do you only need to sleep for 4 hours?
I kind of do it whenever I feel like it, whenever I'm too bored to stay awake.
Saza, are you you only need 4 hours of sleep?
That's what I've been running on. I assume I don't need more than that.
Oh, then this business will be fine. First coffee, then eggs.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Saza definitely, that's one of the few things she has done right now is, coffee, and she pours it out for everyone who is downstairs.
There's still not, a back room to do the accounting in, correct? It's just whatever.
Not yet, no. Yeah, I don't think we're, open at whatever early morning this is.
Right, yeah.
So, who cares, There's kind of a bigger room in the back where I know at least Saza's kind of set up shop, but it's nothing official. It's a studio apartment, think that type of thing.
Yeah.
So I would say right now we're probably just in the main area.
The dining area, yeah.
Yeah, we're literally sitting at the bar if we want to.
Lilura runs in in her garb that's black and yellow. Saza, would you say that this looks better? And she changes her skin to red. Or this, and then changes her skin to purple. Or is it more of a blue day, and then she changes her skin to blue? Which color do you think would be the most alluring right now?
Em leans over to Kingsdale. That's unsettling, right? All of that's unsettling.
I do not necessarily find it unsettling so much as I am uncertain as to which hue in this case would be most attractive. Not based on the day? Does it fluctuate from day to day? In terms of physical oddities that I have seen creatures of other realms present, the ability to change one's skin tone is actually not that odd, although the purple is quite vibrant. I think the purple probably.
Saza points over at Kingsdale. Go with the purple. If a human says they like it, stick with that.
what other things are you able to shift?
Come to my room and find out. She winks at you as she walks back.
No, I'm curious. Like, can you smell different?
What me and Mandy talked about is they have general pigmentation augmentation.
Oh, okay.
That was a weird way to put that, but...
No, I mean, that's what, like, perfumes are for.
Saza, don't tell him he was gonna come to my room. I'm gonna...
So yes, but not in the way you're thinking.
Oh, wait a second. So did they not then is there just never a need for makeup of any kind then? Because you could just, like, do it on the fly.
Yeah, that's the whole point of being
Fascinating.
the type of
now that would save a
demons
good
that
deal
we are.
of work.
Can you not talk over me, sir?
Oh, sorry.
But that's the purpose of, our whole thing is bringing you all in. So anything we have is going to be alluring.
Seems convenient.
It's certainly useful.
I think Em starts doing counting and just kind of like tunes out the rest of y'all.
As you start having this, like, you start trying to tune people out. Kingsdale, was it 2 eggs you wanted or 3? 2? 3? 4? 3, 4? As M's trying to do numbers. Completely oblivious. He's not trying to be a butthole. He's just being oblivious.
Inadvertently, yeah.
I think Zaza brings her coffee over towards you, M. I assume you're at the bar, and she like kind of leans over from the other side. So you two came back late last night. Did you find out anything about what happened on the road?
Well, wait, were you talking to me or M?
Well, I was talking to M, but if you're
sorry,
here
no,
too, you can
sorry.
join.
We met with a fae who says the flowers are important, but doesn't know who might have killed Peter Hooper. She knew he had been traipsing around their woods, and the fae were not happy about that, but she doesn't know who kills him. Also, we have fewer flowers than we did before because Kingsdale gave them all to her, which is not a total loss. She owes us some debts now. But luckily for us, I still have a few petals, and pulls out the petals that she also took from the body originally. So we can still make some stops to the general store and apothecary, if you're up for that.
Certainly, we can definitely do that this morning.
How about you? What did you learn?
Unfortunately not a lot, but Lelora and Leloran heard that someone recently left the Fae Court for the Blacksmith's Guild. I don't know how much you know about Fae, but that's... beings don't tend to leave their ranks, so that's a particularly strange thing to happen.
Yeah! Who would do that?
That is odd.
And then a group of men were talking about Peter Hooper last night, mostly saying how he wouldn't be missed because he was not a particularly well-liked person at the mining corps. But neither of us got the sense that they were involved in his disappearance so much as possibly people who worked under him or alongside him and didn't particularly like his work ethic.
So, okay, so we know he wasn't well liked. It seems like he was attacked by someone he knew, and that they were maybe pretending to be some other magical, inhuman creature. And that they didn't care about the flowers, even though they were important, because we found flowers on his body.
Wait, are you saying that we think he might have been pretending to be a magical being?
No, that the person who attacked him might have been pretending so, because Kingsdale found marks on him that, like, to my eye, would seem like claws, but Kingsdale says they're not authentically claws.
Right. I see how that conclusion was made. I understand now. Yeah, I suppose currently that's all we have to go off on. I don't know, I suppose, yeah, following up on the flowers would be one step and find out why they were requested. But it sounds like they could just be a red herring in that they may not necessarily have been needed. Maybe someone asked him to go get them, hoping that the Fae would just kill him outright for taking them.
That's true. It was kind of surprising that he made it out. I'm not sure if that was a magical thing that he did. They were understandably cagey about that. So, I guess, do we need to go to the general store? I'm not sure what we would ask there. Apothecary definitely seems useful. I feel like if anybody in this town knows what the flowers do and would be able to tell us, it would be Doc.
Well, at this point, yes. The reason I had suggested the general store is if we did not originally know that the flowers were from the Fae, or from where the Fae were. If they were coming from out of town, I had suggested the general store. But if that is not the case, then yes, I suppose we go straight to the apothecary and find out why. I assume that would be the best place to find out why these flowers are so important and what properties they have.
And then, do we want to go to the blacksmiths? I don't know that we have a good reason to go poking around there.
No, I don't suppose we currently have a strong reason to go there, but it is something that we could follow up on if something comes of it. I would say right now it's just odd that it seems that the Fae are dealing with a lot of things if Mr. Hooper was taking their flowers and someone defected to the Blacksmith's Guild.
Right. All right, well, let me finish up this and fully wake up.
Unless, hang on. Kingsdale.
Yes.
The wound that occurred on Mr. Hooper, M said that you think it wasn't natural.
That is correct. It seemed to be too clean to be a cut made by claws or talons.
Would you think that something that made that might have been created in a blacksmith's place?
Yes, that is true. Yes.
Saza looks over at M, or looks back at M. Well, I think that might be a reason to visit the Blacksmith's Guild.
That is a brilliant reason.
All right, you guys spend your morning getting ready, trying to avoid Lelora and Leloran being obnoxious.
Eventually, I do just hand them some of, pocket money that I have.
Just give them, a lot of nickels.
Just, go have fun.
Just going away money.
Go to the general store and buy something that makes you happy. Please, and get out of my hair.
Okay, if you insist, we'll go have a good time. All right, so you guys are heading to Doc's?
Yeah, I would say Doc's first. Doc's long name that I'll never get.
Enchanted Elixirs, Herbal Healing, Starlight Solutions, Apothecary.
Doc's.
You enter the building. And instead of seeing Doc there, you see an 18-year-old who looks like if a golden retriever was made into a person. He looks very happy that you're there, very friendly and inviting. He's a little bit short, but has very straight posture. Hello! Welcome to the apothecary. My
Russell?
grandfather, well, he's not actually my grandfather, but that's a little bit, that he told me not to share my entire life story, so I'm not going to do that. Welcome to the apothecary shop that my grandfather wants me to say the whole name of, and I may have forgotten because it is very long. Hi, I'm Russell, and he sticks out his hand.
How do you do, Russell? Call me M.
Nice to meet you, Em. You seem lovely. Are you new in town? I don't know if I've seen you before. Wait! I have a thing for you.
Oh.
And he pulls out a bottle and puts it there. No, wait! No, that's for someone else who only... How many people in this town go by one letter? Oh, wait, no, that's just the first initial. I missed the last name on here. Oh, my... Sorry, this one just says M. It also says, do not put extra drops in eyes. It will be bad. You will... I don't want to read the rest of this. It makes me feel uncomfortable.
I'll Then don't. It's fine.
You look at it, and it's one of those lists, like, medical commercials where it's like
Yes.
side effects include, and it's just all terrible things. It like is one of those things where the it starts with minor and gets to like the horrible ones, and the first one is like bleeding out of the eyes.
It's already bad. Did I pay for this already?
I think so.
Okay. I thought I did, but I couldn't remember.
It's fine. You guys have pocket money, you know.
I have a job.
Yeah. Lauren made sure you woke up to do it this morning.
Yeah. You're very kind, Russell. And she pockets the potion.
Well, thank you for saying so. I work really hard. My grandfather doesn't want anything to do with anything, but I am here to help the people. Mostly by giving out these orders of tinctures that he's already made because I don't really know a lot about it. But I'm learning. Did you know that you can refresh your face by putting mud on it? The more you know.
Where is your grandfather? Is he around? Maybe in a back room? Perhaps?
Oh, he's in back. Yeah.
You should go get him.
Okay. Should I tell him who's asking for him?
I guess?
Yes.
So
back.
So you hear him go into the back room. Doc, I guess M is back, is here to see you. Yes, no, they didn't say what they wanted. They just said M is back. I guess M is back.
So precise.
Back again. Guess who's back? No, okay, I'll tell them. He said he would like you to take a message, but if you stick around, he will come out. He always does this. You hear him back, please do not keep telling the customers that, Russell. I'm not gonna lie to them. Besides, you like helping people.
Kingsdale puts his hand on his shoulder and just goes, you should learn how to lie.
Lying is for people who don't want to help other people.
And telling the truth is for the dead. Doc, we need to talk to you, or we're just gonna come back there, I think.
So Doc once again comes out. He has his rolled up sleeves. He's wearing a vest. He looks very fine and well groomed. I don't believe we've had the pleasure of meeting. My name is Doc Phoenix. And you are?
Does he seem like weirdly magical?
Well, when you look into his eyes, it feels like the weight of centuries are boring down on you.
My name is Frankie.
Okay, we'll pretend I believe that. And you, madam?
That's a lie. I just have no interest in telling you my real name. I've been hurt before.
I am not looking to hurt people. I'm looking to be left alone, but also I don't like seeing people hurting, so... And my grandson Russell will not stop taking in every stray he sees.
And pats Kingsdale on the shoulder. You're learning.
Thank you.
Zaza steps up. I wouldn't say this is about taking in more strays, but rather we have a question about something that appears to be unnatural, and something that hopefully you have some experience with.
And M pulls out the kind of stamped the trampled petals.
Do you give them to him, or are you just holding them out to him?
I think she would place them on the counter.
Okay.
So that he can examine them.
Okay, that's what I was asking. I didn't know if you were, like, doing a power play on him. This will take a moment, if you don't mind, but it should be quick. So he goes and he does a few things. Is it okay if I destroy a couple of these petals to further discern their properties to verify my conclusions?
As long as there's some left over.
I will make sure that there are at least 2 left over for you of the half dozen you have put before me.
That's fine.
So he takes a few minutes grounding up some, doing special things, looking at results. Where did you find this flower?
On the road between here and the mining corporation?
Just growing on the road?
No, these are pretty trampled, as you can see.
Yes. All right, I'm going... I I feel like there should be a roll in here somewhere, actually. Let me pull up what...
Is there? Does he have any reason why he wouldn't just tell us?
He has a business, I'm just seeing. So what you have found is something that is incredibly rare, and I would pay handsomely for if you could find a full flower of these.
We would have no interest in selling these until we know what it is we are selling.
This is Nender Ukort, better known as Halo's Touch. It is something that is all but impossible to find on any plane that is not the heavens. The only place that it is found is places of extreme celestial concentration. Even within the heavens, it is not common.
What does it do?
Well, in the hands of a master like myself, any amount of things, but most commonly, there are two things that it helps with. It can make transformations easier. So, Madame Saza here, I presume, is able to shift her skin tone. It would give her much more control and variety of that if mixed in a certain way, where... And this is meant to be no infringement upon your skill, madam, but it will allow her a level of control hereto unheard of for herself. The difference would be playing a song on a kazoo versus a piano.
Would you say, or would you hypothesize at least, that it would do much more than just changing like a skin tone? Could it change physical features, for instance?
I do not know if it could amplify some... I do not know if it would gift you powers that were not already there. That would...
So it amplifies what's already there.
Yes, or makes it smoother. So in the transformation is one of the main ways. It makes whatever that is smoother and more precise. So, Madame Saza could do intricate patterns upon her skin instead of just doing larger swaths of color.
If I had the ability, let's say, to transform a part of my body, let's say to extend fingernails, would it allow me to make those more precise, more sharp, more razor-like, perhaps?
He thinks for a second. Probably. Again, I have not worked with this flower, so I do not know its full capabilities. But the other way it works is it amplifies powers of creatures from different planes. So, for someone such as yourself, who appears to not be inhuman, it would not do much to your powers. You seem to be capable in your own regard, but also not someone who is unearthly. Same for Lady M here. Someone like a fae or an angel, this would give them a power kick for the duration that the tincture lasts.
Is it addicting?
Is power addicting?
Well, there's addicting and addicting. What I mean is, if you stop taking this, will you physically suffer negative consequences, or will you just desire to have power?
I believe it is the latter. Again, I have not done casework on this. Now, if you were to procure more of this flower for me...
I don't think that's a promise we can make, but if I'm wrong, we'll certainly come to you.
Well, the offer stands, and I can be helpful in many ways, especially if I receive payment such as this.
And we'll collect her remaining petals and put them in her pocket.
Well, I believe this has been a productive morning. Is there anything else I can tell you lovely folks?
Not at the moment that I can think of.
Well, I wish you best of luck in your endeavors, and I would be careful on who you took those petals from. Because if they want them back, I don't think you're... Let me rephrase that. I'd be careful with who you took those petals from. They are not an insignificant thing that you have found.
Noted.
Now, Russell, I am leaving the building, and even if I'm in the back room, I have left the building, and you will not tell anyone otherwise. But that would be lying, as you all leave out. I don't care what it is. Do you want to have a debrief before you head to your next location, or are you heading straight to the Authors of Steel?
I think I want to debrief. So they're walking over to the blacksmiths guild.
No, say the name. Say the name, Caitlin.
The Authors of Steel.
Proud of that name.
It's a good name. So, Zaza, are there werewolves in town?
I haven't. I'm not aware of any currently. None have come into the Quiversand Tavern.
I am going to interrupt you, Salza. You do know there are werewolves around.
Okay.
They just haven't come to the tavern.
Yeah. The werewolves are the people. There's a large contingent of them who live on the outskirts of town. And I would say Saza knows that from being here for a while. I don't think any of them are regular patrons for you. I think that is fair, but I think you would know that they exist.
Apparently, yes, there are some around town, but none have come into the Quiversand Tavern.
So, I feel like they would be perhaps people who would benefit from an easier transformation, but they'd also have real claws, right, Kingsdale? And they would have taken the flower petals if they found them on Peter.
My impression at the moment, if I was to give one, far-fetched that it may seem, I believe what is his name? Peter Hooper was a rube who was asked to find these flower petals and did so much at risk to his own life and then was killed for the knowledge that he possessed. Now, the fact that there were flowers, some whole and some intentionally damaged, left at the scene is odd, but I believe the rocky road down which we are walking leads us to the mining company owning the ability to get those flowers. I think that the Fae are being framed for this death. Now, a werewolf would be in some ways a likely candidate to have done this for the sake of their speed and also the claws, which maybe had been shaped more precisely by the flowers in question. However, I wonder why they would not simply barter for the flowers, or why the Fae would never barter them away. It is a conundrum in that way. I am curious if a weapon, however, was made that matches the wounds that we saw. Also, I would have expected a reaction from Silver. Was Peter's wounds inflicted by a werewolf? Maybe. It doesn't always work, but it's a possibility.
So it's entirely possible that the werewolves are being framed. We have flower petals that would benefit them left at the scene, and we have claw marks.
But
It
if
is
it would
odd that they
benefit them,
left.
wouldn't they have taken the remains with them?
The flower petals being left feels like a message, like we destroyed them in like a threat, you know? Because it does feel like the werewolves would have simply taken them, for the murder would have been one of highway robbery, of piracy, or bandit activity, not just one of a message of threat. It was not on their land or near them, and they have no ownership of those flowers. However, the Fae do.
It definitely leaves the impression that either the person who attacked him or Mr. Hooper and Mr. Hooper did not realize what they had with those flowers.
Well, and the other oddity here, too, for Mr. Hooper is why would he desire those flowers? Apparently they are all but useless to me. And then, assumedly, to Mr. Hooper.
Well, he was able to sneak into the Fae's forest and sneak out. If he had some sort of glamour ability that transformed him or hid him, I don't know if he was using it somehow to escape, but that would sort of that would be a chicken or egg thing. You'd have to have some in order to get more and escape.
Remind me, did you say that the Fae were aware of him sneaking around?
Yes.
They were aware of him fleeing.
They were aware of him fleeing.
But he did manage to get deep inside of the territory of the Fae and steal something without being caught, which does strike me as odd. To the point of dishonest, but not impossible. I believe that he definitely had an assistant who helped him. I believe this probably is the same person that then murdered him.
Which does seem the most obvious person to help you get into Fae territory would be a Fae.
That is true. A thing I had considered. Also, as a third location that I would like to search independently, I believe we might need to facilitate a hidden entrance into whatever storehouse or shipping house the prospecting company might have, as I wonder if they are exporting these flowers elsewhere for monetary gain.
That would have to be, they'd have to be taking it out by train, right? There's not really other...
Would be my assumption, yes.
Does the train go all the way out to the mining company, Zach? Or do they have to cart things into town and then load them up on the train?
There might be a system that is steam-powered and train-like to get stuff from the mountain to the train proper, but it is not the same train that brought you into town.
Either way, they ship things from the mine to the train, presumably.
Yeah.
If they're mining something, they have to export it, unless they're processing it here into a good to then sell.
I would say that there is probably a short, small train that runs laps, but it's meant for cargo and not people. Like,
right, okay.
That does a circuit between the mountain and the train station so that they can drop all that off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the effect is the same, that they have to have some kind of storing house where they might keep products that they are intending to sell and might be selling these flowers. Ooh, you know what else? We could break in and look at, like, ledgers. You know, at like the mining headquarters.
I was kind of thinking that. I was trying to figure out the best way to get that.
I should say that in character, but, you know, or maybe not. Maybe that's not an in-character idea yet.
Right. So, more information on the mining company, on what they're shipping out. All of that would be good.
I will say the other thing that strikes me as odd is that when you spoke to the Fae, did it seem like the flowers specifically came from their location?
Their impression, I believe, was that they own the growing place of the flowers, yes.
Okay, because from what Doc said, there has to be an extremely high celestial concentration, and this particular Fae court is not supposed to be a particularly strong court. So I would be very surprised if they had such a strong celestial concentration in their home and are not wielding that power, if that makes sense.
Right, if they have it and are just sitting on it, what good is it doing them? Unless they're turning it into something else.
Yes. Yes, because especially if these are as rare as Doc says they are, it sounds as if they could be either helping themselves or helping, and I say help, but you know, make a profit or whatever, what have you, with these. You know what I mean? They could either be using that power that it has for themselves, or they could be making a profit from it. I am confused why they are doing neither if that is where the flowers have come from.
That's a good point.
You told us that they moved out there recently, though, right? Like, they left somewhat recently?
Yes.
They did?
No, Saza told us that, right?
I forget how we knew that. It might have been at the general store that we heard that.
That who did? What? The Fae?
That the Fae had moved from town to the forest recently.
Right, I thought that, didn't they...
That would not have come from me.
Wait a second. Weren't the Fae... Okay, what was the mining guild? Or, I'm sorry, I'm getting confused with you now. What was the connection with the blacksmith guild?
The connection with the blacksmith guild is that supposedly a member of the Fae court left the court to join the blacksmith's guild. That was gossip that
I misunderstood
heard.
something. Okay, sorry. Never mind. Ignore everything I just said. Let's go to the blacksmith guild.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Having finally debriefed, you guys head your way to the Blacksmith's Guild to get further answers. But we'll do that next time. Hey Wanderers, thanks for listening to our campaign Desperation. As always, you can follow us on our socials, and if you like what you hear, leave us a review on your podcast app of choice, and tell a friend about the show. We hope you've enjoyed your time in Desperation. Just because it's the end of the line doesn't mean you don't have options.